Sports Services Director for the City of Daytona Beach. At the last meeting, we talked about the Nolan property and the proposal that was presented by Mr. Nolan. We have received an appraisal back on that property. The appraisal came in at $2,060,000 as opposed to the request of Mr. Nolan of $2,339,000. There was a question about a possible hiatus. We have met and discussed that. We have talked to his surveyor and found that there might be an interpretation that would cause us to believe that maybe there isn't a hiatus there. What we have presented or put into the package for the purchase is something that would require that he would use our title company, and in turn, that title company would have a survey done and be sure that there is no hiatus in there. If there was, then we'd give them an opportunity to clear that up. But we felt that that would be the fair way to do it, to be sure we got clear title. Because a piece of property like that, without having something to be sure that little parcel isn't in there, is part of ours if we purchase it. It's something that we can then use as marketability. Okay? So we've tried to come up with something that would satisfy everybody and meet our needs to be sure that we have something that is marketable. Any questions that you have?
So the appraisal, based on assuming that parcel, that little piece can be cleared up, came back at $2,060,000.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Mr. Nolan's asking price was $2,339,000.
Yes, sir.
Are we bound by, Mr. Brown, I guess, or the manager? Are we allowed to pay more than appraised value for property that we're accumulating or assembling in the city?
Mayor, we're talking about a situation where we have an individual wants to sell property to the city, and it goes to a willing buyer and a willing seller at whatever terms and price the commission would agree to. We have an appraisal that justifies a purchase at a certain amount. It does not mean you have to pay the appraisal. It does not mean you're limited by it. But from what we've received so far, the appraisal says the property is worth that much.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if at all possible, I'd just like to go ahead and make a motion that we enter into some contractual negotiations with Mr. Nolan on obtaining those properties. I mean,
yeah, and I think looking at this appraisal, some of the properties weren't.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Please. You clean up nice, Jerry. I didn't recognize you when you walked down.
Thank you very much.
I thought that was your attorney.
Thank you very much. The appraisal that was prepared has 6 comps, 4 of which are in the city of Daytona Beach Shores, and none of which are in the Community Redevelopment Agency. I do not know who gave the instructions on the appraisal and the take-in that could have allowed this individual to look at those comps. It does not take into account the property that you are under contract and may not have yet closed on at 516 South Grandview, which is being acquired at $46 a square foot for an inferior parcel that you do not even have the demolition costs in there. I have come in good faith before this commission, offering my property at $2.339 million. I can walk away from my property with my fingers attached, with my toes attached to me. At $2,060,000, it does not work. It doesn't work. I'm behind. It doesn't add up. I watched here earlier tonight a debate about the entitlement issue with regard to height. I feel like that Dr. Doolittle animal that pushed me, pulled me, and in one breath, you guys could entitle this property with amazing things, and in another breath, you could cast it off into the dark. I am in foreclosure. I believe that if I had to drive this all the way to the foreclosure date, I will bite and scratch and make sure that I get the maximum dollars available for this, and I do believe a developer will pay dearly for this asset.
Jerry, just so you understand, I was questioning whether we were able to do that, the legality. I wasn't recommending that we offer you less than you were asking for. That was more of a clarification.
I should then step back from the podium and let you continue with that. I wanted to get it on the table real quick because and here I'm going to offer one tangential. This is an interesting observation. I can squeeze this in 30 seconds. I take it as offensive to me and the efforts that I have put forth down there when we have queued up an appraisal that there is a demolition going on down the street on an adjacent property next to a corner lot that I own, where the city engages a demolition company is allowed to be engaged, and I don't know if the city was doing this at 207 South Grandview or whether it was a private developer, but I had a demolition vehicle and dumpster and everything sitting at a property for 10 days while somebody's supposed to be valuing my property, and then we look across the street to 144 South Grandview that the city does own, and they did go through a process here at the city commission, and there are handwritten signs on the side of the building that say no trespassing, City of Daytona Beach. I mean, it was chicken scratch on the side of the building. And so I'm just sitting here saying that sometimes I feel like somebody's trying to drive down the prices as far as they can in my neighborhood so they can then gobble them up. I want to do business with the City of Daytona Beach. The foreclosure auction is October the 23rd. I am specifically here tonight hoping, and I said, you know, what gets us going in the right direction? And I'm sitting here saying, I believe it calls for a resolution